There we go.
Shall we begin?
So it begins.
And now it begins.
So it begins.
And so it begins.
Shall we begin?
It begins.
So, shall we begin?
So, it begins.
Shall I begin? Shall we begin? Shall we begin? Shall we begin?
Psst. We're back. We're back. Angus, are you back?
Oh, I'm back.
We're back, baby. Yep, sorry we're late. You know, we have Angus with us, so naturally.
Black guy's always late.
Oh, yeah. But yeah.
I don't really fit your narrative, Flip, because I was late from work.
Mm-hmm.
Work. Suck on that, you Lebanese fuck.
Black guys always work while us white guys get to sit in palaces. I know. It's okay.
me and a black guy at work, we joke, like when we're like, our lines down. Go away.
Dad, guess what?
No, I'm not guessing. Get the hell away.
Commentary from
Star Wars time.
Yep, Star Wars time, baby. So, Book of Boba Fett, a boobly ugly Fett, number 2 episode.
Bubba Fett.
Yep, Boba Fett is what I like to call it, just in general, because Booba, why not? It is an episode, I guess. It is a continuation of the last one.
You dumbass.
I liked your teaser that you had for it.
Yeah, you like my non-spoiler meme?
You like had a lizard or a chameleon or some crap in a thumbnail with Boba, and I'm like, what could that? I was like, is that going to be the lizard people, the boss things, or whatever?
Yeah, it was a play on Scarface. His whole like the iconic scene of film in front of the cocaine. But instead of cocaine, it's a lizard, and it's Boba Fett.
Okay, so I didn't even get the reference because I haven't seen that. So, yeah, naturally.
The rookie strikes again.
No, I've never watched Scarface. I watched like 20 minutes. And I'm like, damn, this is I can't get through this.
Well, regardless, so I mean, this is a weird episode to walk through. Like, I guess because like the first bit continues where we left off last time, where what's her face caught that one dude that attacked them, and they pretty much figured out who that is, and then they go into a flashback for the whole episode. So I guess let's talk about when we're at Boba's place on Mufasa. What's the place they're at? Mosespa? Okay. Can't tell the difference there.
Sorry, what?
That's
The famous rapper from the 90s, Mos Def. It's like named after his sister, Mosespa.
Oh,
yeah, so
dude,
she
Mos
drags
Def sucks.
drags the dude back, brings him to the lair, which I guess that is Jabba's house still, which is over there. Okay, and then he's like, all right, who you work for? And they have a back and forth that I thought was kind of meandering, but I did like how she drops him into the thing and with nothing in there, knowing there's no Rancor. That was kind of funny. I was like, we know there's no Rancor, but
no, we know there's no Rancor from episode 6. It doesn't mean they didn't replace it or that they didn't put a new creature in there.
I don't know. I don't think that they would have.
I was expecting a baby Rancor. I thought it was gonna like turn into a cutesy gag.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't actually doubt that either with that. But I thought that was a nice little move, and that he's like shitting his pants at the thought of a Rancor. I was like, you know what? Yeah, that's Rancor. Yeah, you can't do much about it if you don't have a weapon to defend yourself. So makes sense that you get a little nervous. So that was all right. Divulges who it was, which wasn't really who it was, but we can kind of see that's kind of the thing that they might do based on the last episode. But I guess so. For the first bit before we go into the flashback area, what do you guys think of that sequence with all that, with the first bit?
It was humorous. I thought it was fun. I was because Bad Batch had a baby Rancor as a plot for one of their side quests, so you never know when that'll tie in or if they play on that in the future. Like, yeah, now it's a teenage Rancor, or just maybe they put in an Acklay or a Reek, or you don't know. Like it's like this is 5 years after episode 6 at that at this point.
Well, yeah, but I mean he's been in ruling for how long? Like a couple days, couple weeks, essentially.
Yeah, but you don't know what Bib Fortuna pulled. and to revamp, Jabba's palace.
Yep, I suppose.
Check out the newest attraction, folks.
Yeah, but what do you think of that opening stuff, Flipster?
I liked it. I mean, I'm a fan of the show for the most part. The slow burn continues, and I heard a lot of people saying that in the fandom. Watched a good few videos on it, but I wanted to see what I agreed and disagreed on, and then to talk on that. But as for the first part, I agree that it's slow, and I thought, Angus, I thought for sure we'd see Moochie or whatever the name of that Rancor was, because there's art. They did art for the Book of Boba Fett. And I don't know if they're going to use it, but one of them has Boba Fett riding a Rancor, which I thought sounds pretty cool. Yeah. So
it's like, was it Starkiller in Force Unleashed?
Yeah.
He rode Rancors all the time.
He destroyed them all the time. But anyway, yeah. So we may see that yet. I thought it was kind of risky. I always think of stuff like after the fact. So there was no Rancor. And so what would happen if the guy just stood there and didn't talk? They'd have looked like idiots.
Well, this is kind of my issue that I had with the last episode, was that I wish that they spent more time establishing what Boba has, like what his forces are at right now. At least like it's kind of like world building, I guess, where it's like what is your faction? Or if you lost 3 of your men, are you like down to 2 people left, or do you have like what is your backing? Like if they started it with they just defeated an uprising and then they get their Gamorrean guards or something, that would have been, you could establish what they even have here. I have no idea how big his influence is. In this episode he says that that he rules over Mephispa, I can't get the fucking name all the time. He rules over the town, but it's like I don't see how he does. He's just,
think of it like this, Ricky. It's Espanol without the año. It's just Espa.
Okay, but he just says he rules over it, and it's like I don't get that, because nobody else seems to know who he is anyway. And so it's like I'm confused as to what even he is to this town. So it's like I wish that they would establish that a little bit in these episodes, and I don't know. And so you're right. So that just goes to what his resources are. So I'm like, does he have the resources to get a huge creature here? It
looks like he has 4 people, including himself. Well,
yeah, about 4. He has his 2 Gamorrean guards and the chick. And the robot.
There you go, the robot.
And I'm like, okay, so you're pretty much have nothing.
But I think what he's doing is he's coming in, and I mean just totally rogue style. Like I'm going to try and do this because I was just born again. He's having this whole, hey, I almost died, rebirth moment in his mind. I mean, I can actually, and at his age, and yes, he is. People say, oh, Bubba fat, and he's a little older, but I think he's in pretty good shape for his age. But, he's coming in, he's got this, I just almost died. So I think that's why they're going back and forth.
No, he didn't just almost die, right? There's the whole Mandalorian season 2 stuff, all that time.
Mandalorian season 2. No,
he didn't just get rescued from the Sarlacc and then become the ruler here. It was
that would probably
a lot of time
in between being the ruler. So at the end of Mandalorian season 2, he flies off in his Slave 1. We call it Slave 1.
Yep.
And he flies off, and that's when he goes back to try and talk to Bib, Fortuna, or kill him. Really.
Well, that's kind of what I'm saying, is that it seems like he should have the means that, like, there should be some type of plan, but he's just like, I'm going to kill the guy that's in charge, and I don't know anything else about anything else at all, but I'm going to act like I know about it, because he presents himself like he knows what he's doing, but is constantly surprised at anything thrown at him. And I'm just kind of like, well, of course, like, you're going to be challenged if you just step into the ring here. It's not just I get a waltz in and I'm the ruler.
But I don't
understand how he thinks that. It's kind of dumb.
I think we'll find that he had a plan later, because the Tuskens are definitely a big part of this, and I think they were behind him big time. And I'm guessing sort of like in what was it, Avatar, where they united the factions of the world. He probably united the factions of the Tusken Raiders. I'm expecting a big Tusken Raider deal to, a war or some sort of backup to come.
I mean, if that kind of thing, if he has like a private army of Tuskens around, then I guess I could give more credit to that. But so far, he seems to be risking everything with like 3 people to guard him.
Yeah,
I don't know. It
Just
just
looks
seems
weird.
off to me. It seems off to me as all, and it's not a huge deal. They're going to expand on stuff as they go, but it so far seems kind of lame. Like when they go to the town. Well, okay, we'll get there in a sec. So
Yeah,
they know they see. Oh, the mayor's the one who sent him, which I thought was like I kind of doubt that. I don't know. Seems like they like to always do twists in all these shows. So it's like you think this is who it is, but it isn't actually. They set it up to be obvious and then reveal that isn't the truth all
Yeah.
the time. So I was like, okay, that's fine though. They go to the mayor's place and like, do you have an appointment? I guess that's kind of funny. I guess I had to laugh there.
I would have skipped that
But,
because, like, I heard somebody say, I think it was Thor Skywalker. He said that, look, Boba Fett would have just went in there guns blazing and put a gun to the guy's head until he said, what the
yeah,
hell.
I guess that's what I kind of feel like. It's very mundane where it's like, I want to see the mayor. Do you have an appointment? Bringing back his pet. And it's like, God, you sound so boring. Like, can you like? And it's not even that you just like. I guess I'll say on the flip backstage. Like, the more Boba Fett speaks, the more annoyed I am because the way he does his dialogue sounds very weird. The more I hear it, and he says a lot of dialogue, but it's done just very. I am Boba Fett, and this is the thing that we are going to do now. I'm going to see the mayor now. It's very descriptive with little words, but it's like you don't need to say any of this. Just do it. I don't know.
I like what John Talks tweeted. Like, I only watched about 3/4 of the episode at this point on my way to work, but I saw this later today, and it's like a screen of the guy at the front desk of the mayor. It says, John Talk says, "Welcome to Wendy's. I hate my job." No, I don't really have a problem with any of this dialogue with Boba Fett. He seems like straight and to the point.
I know, but he says he says so much dialogue though that it's not even straight to the point.
I really don't think he's got a lot of dialogue. I feel it's just the right amount, especially for who he is. Like, he only had 4 lines in the original trilogy, even I guess with the special editions, the like current form of Star Wars. Like, we don't really know much about the guy. Sure, there's the whole EU. Like, I don't care. It's like the Snyder Cut. I don't care at this point. But this is Disney Can. They're starting new, and it's like I'm enjoying it. And it's like, what are they supposed to do? Just have him be quiet the whole time, and everyone else talks around him?
Well, that's kind of an unfair extreme. I'm just saying the way that he delivers his dialogue is very bizarre. The way that it sounds every time. Like, if I could play,
I hear
Django
right now from him. I'm like, this is good.
I don't know, and it just seems like I don't know the talking role. He's also how often he just takes his helmet off. It's like I know why they're doing it because they want to see his face, but it's like I don't know. I feel like if you're in this hostile areas, you might want to have your helmet on most of the time. But,
well, so like I was saying about him coming in guns blazing, the cool thing, and I don't know, maybe 10 or so years older than you guys, but when you get to a closer age, where you're up in there, you kind of think twice before you do stuff like that. And maybe after having that near-death experience and that spiritual experience with the Tusken Raiders, it changed him into, thinking before he, throws a fist or pulls a trigger. And I can understand that. Having grown up, I was more ready to just take action and less think about it. So when I see that, it's funny. I mean, it's like, oh, ha ha, one weird guy at the desk, whatever. But then I also understand, like, he's like, fuck this guy. And he walks by him and he's like, yo, what's up? I'm just here to find out what's going on here. And I respect that because when he says to Fennec, I'm going to rule with respect, that made me think, wow, that's going to be a lot more difficult. And it is. If you want to just start shooting people, it's going to be easy, but it's a quick way to die too.
Well, I mean, to be on that type of vein, I think it would have been just as funny if they just walked in and ignored the people at the desk and like anybody trying to stop them and not kill them, but shove them out of the way. Just like, oh, hey, like just walk straight into the back. It's like, oh, okay, there we are.
I agree. Yeah,
I think that could have been funny. It could have been funny and show something with this character, but
they were trying something funny. I'm not quite sure it hit. It was silly for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But he meets up with the is that an Athosian? What was the name of those fish dudes?
Ithorian.
Yeah, Thorians, and And that was all right, that confrontation. They shoot the assassin guy immediately in the head. He's like, "Yeah, we don't like them here." I was like, "Okay, well, that's all right." I kind of like I'll admit, I am okay with the mayor character. He seems all right.
I like that they shot the guy. That was awesome.
Yep, that was good. What do you think of the mayor sequence, Angus?
It was okay. It was whatever. Start the show, and I was driving too watching, so I'm gonna rewatch it tomorrow before I do my review. But it was alright. It's just whatever. It's like all right, someone's gonna get shot, or there's gonna be some sort of payoff or whatever. It was just the start to the conflict of this episode. It was whatever for me.
Right. Yeah. Same here. That's when they point it in the direction of the other people in a sec. But we got Bone joining us. What's up, Bone? I miss you, Bone. Good to see you, Bone.
Yeah, bro. Good to see you, man.
We got Dave Filoni Gaming says it's 2022, the year of our savior, Dave Filoni. I don't know about that, but who knows? I could be proven wrong. Who knows?
I hope.
Yep. And so then he's like, okay, he goes back to that one place where they gave him coins in his helmet before. And then they're like, oh, the twins are back. And he's like, oh, I thought they're too busy doing other stuff. But nope, they have returned. And they're two big old huts. Angus's favorite species, I think. Right? The huts.
No, dude, my favorite's the Kaminoans, man. Those things are sexy. And I'm not joking. I'm literally like, I know I'm like
you're not.
Funny guy, but no, I think the female Kaminoans are, it needs to be a lot more Rule 34. I'm tired of Ahsoka and Leia. We need some Kaminoans.
Get some good neck action there.
Yeah. Well, they're just so angular and they flow. It's cool, man.
That's good. Yeah. So the huts arrive back. I don't have much to comment on that. I mean,
that feminists get walked in on a cart.
Yep.
I thought they were two dudes. I couldn't tell.
No, it was a dude and a chick.
Okay.
Clearly, right? I don't know. Fuck, it could be two dudes, two chicks, dude and a chick, whatever. They're blobs. They're blobs on a board. That's all good.
Blobs on a board.
I did like how they're, you see all the people carrying them and walking around them, and they're like, okay, well, because before up to this point, they keep on mentioning, no, I didn't see your whole crowd of people, so I didn't know you were arriving. And it's like, oh, well, why would you think that? Well, because that's how they literally walk with these huge things, and then
literally litters.
Having seen in like this show like these just fat gluttonous slugs, and they're just like dying in the heat and like damping themselves off with the towel and stuff the whole time. They're like, yeah, you give us hot land. Oh, fuck, it's hot. It's like, how are they powerful? Like, who serves them? Like, why do of all these creatures, they got like a Wookiee bounty guy with them, or gladiator, whatever the hell this guy's going to be. And it's like, why isn't he in charge? He's fucking cool and powerful. Like, why are these two fat slobs running the joint?
Money. That's probably
I mean,
but where they start, like how they start, that's the one thing I'm interested in with the huts. Like, I don't want a hut show, Star Wars.
Yeah, right.
Give me a little bit of explanation why when you're showing me this, and this is Hut Cousins. It's like, what? Who the hell are they to like run the joint?
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. I mean, you wonder how Jabba in the first place. It's like who's like this slug man? Yep, we'll follow him. I do wonder, but it's like I guess in this galaxy, I don't know. Who knows?
They looked really good though. The CGI on the huts was
they didn't look too bad. They looked all right, and I thought that was an all right little entrance there down the hall, I was gonna say the hallway, the street, down the street, and their little confrontation with them. But that's also why I wonder about Boba Fett's faction. I'm like, if you were to be attacked right now, you'd lose. Like, you would die right now because there's only the four of you. And there's, I don't know. It seems like you'd easily be able to be overtaken if they had blasters.
Yeah, here's the thing I think we're not thinking about though, because we're so focused on like Boba Fett's so cool in the original trilogy.
Well, nothing I'm saying has anything to do with him in the
no. I'm saying like the general consensus, the discourse you see on Twitter, in our sphere.
Yeah, our sphere.
Like,
our sphere.
Darth Vader was like second in command of the intergalactic army and navy, and yet to find Luke Skywalker and or Han or whatever, he gets Boba Fett and some other bounty hunters. Like, have at it. Where it's like, man, I got all this power at my disposal, but he picks that guy, and he's like, yeah, no disintegration. Like he's got a mystique to him that we don't know about, a background to this character. There's a lot more to him than we know, just from a few interactions in the movies, and the mystique with like Han Solo freaks like Boba Fett. Ah, crap, So I think we're not really. You talk about like the number of his faction that he's growing. He's just starting up, and that's a good point. But then at the same time, it's like, yeah, I'm Boba Fett. I got out of the Sarlacc pit. That's the last time people knew me. That they saw me around here. Was there with Jabba, and I had a big name before that. So it's like, I think that's we're seeing a bunch of flashbacks, and I think going forward, I'm hoping at least it would be a smart route is to like really like beef that up. As to why it's like, yeah, he's got like 4 people total, but it's Boba Fett. I don't want to screw with this guy because I know what he'll do. To me.
So I agree. I'm hoping that they show more like throughout the 5 years. It's kind of reminded me of Arrow because they went back and forth with their whole thing too. But like if they show that he has built more of a reputation even after the Return of the Jedi and stuff, like if he has an even bigger reputation or something, or he's got more allies laying in wait all like everywhere. That would be that would be interesting. I'll take back some of my criticism of his low forces, because right now I just feel like you could be easily snuffed out right now, like so simply. It just seems like he's so cocky about it when you could, like, as if the plot's protecting him right now. But if it's revealed later that there's something else, I'll walk back on it. But if there isn't, I'm keeping it at this is kind of dumb. But I do like the standoff though that they have regardless. Regardless of what I don't like. I like the standoff.
It's the only way I can see it working. Like he's bluffing.
Get over here, hurry up.
Oh my God.
Come on, go to bed.
Yeah.
Come here. Hug, kiss, hurry up.
Is he a Jawa? Or is he a Gollum? My precious. I don't know if you can hear us. That'd be funny because his son hates when he does that with Gollum, calls him Gollum or anything.
Sorry, Michael won't go to bed.
Can he hear us? Because we're like, oh,
no. I got my earphones.
We're like, are you Gollum? Are you Jawa?
No. My headphones are in, so yeah, he wouldn't have heard you.
Okay.
Sorry about that. No, I thought I hit my button.
No, you're good. You're good.
He's gotten up like 3 times now. I'm like, go away.
Right.
But we gotta go. So we're almost about to finish this little bit, and then we'll get into the Tusken bits. So then Boba Fett's like, well, I'm not some whatever pleb here. I'm Boba Fett. I'm stronger than I look. You guys won't do so well against me. And then they show some Wookiee come out that looks pretty badass. I'll admit, he's got rocking some armor, rocking a huge gun. Looking very confident as hell.
Heavy metal, man.
Very good. I could see them playing some rock music to it, some AC/DC or something, or to the Wookiee's entrance.
Guns for hire.
And so I got to admit, I just, if we're going on looks, that Wookiee looked fucking badass. Like if I were a kid, I'd want that as a toy, like that type of thing. So that's the first time I'm like, wow, that's something that is appealing. Just there you go. So wow, nice.
Yeah, man.
That's pretty good. So there might be a future confrontation with that. I like too how they're like, bloodshed's bad for business. We'll deal with this later. So it might be sneaky stuff later. Might be another confrontation later, like at night or something. Who knows? But that's looking. I'd rather see that stuff in the present. I don't care about anything that's going on in the past, which is what we're about to get to. Is the flashbacks to him in the Tusken camp.
Mm-hmm.
Do one of you guys want to walk us through this a little bit more?
Yeah,
because I'll downplay it if I do. So go ahead.
Yeah, again, I was driving when I was watching this, so it was like I was listening, but I'm like, actually like digesting. It's like off and on, like when I had like stretches of road, to drive, not turns. But I remember, like I was thinking about tweeting, it's like, wow, this episode feels like they retooled and reused the Solo film, but did it good.
I'd just say they did it better, but yeah, well, they did a.
Oh no, okay. When I say good, it's not like I'm like, wow, I really want a train heist again in Star Wars.
Oh, I see. I see what you're. I didn't see,
but
the exact reference. But
and
yeah,
also
the way they did that, the way they did that sequence makes more sense here. And now I'll admit, I'll agree with you on that. They did that far better than Solo.
Yeah,
Far better. And the fact that they set up a lot of potential scenarios beforehand with the training of the speeder bikes, that was a nice little.
Yeah. Okay. So this is like what irritates the hell out. I'm trying not to curse. Sorry, I know I did earlier, but
you can curse.
I'm trying to be better, just so it's like all the time. It's just whatever.
Got to do better, Angus.
But be better, yes. But I'm a huge fan of Dances with Wolves, and I've seen people compare this to Dances with Wolves in like a tongue-in-cheek or just a mocking way, and people crying about like
really.
Like so people have already gift for like Boba Fett's like trying to like do some kind of like he's kind of laughing or smiling at like, hey, this, he's like making a motion on the speeder, he's trying to explain how to like work this shit, these Tuscans, and everyone's like just crying about every little thing. And it's like, have you seen Dances with Wolves, this great American story? And I'm not telling you, but just like there are moments of levity in that fairly serious like epiphany of a man's life in this story film, where he's like integrating with the natives, and before he was an outsider, and like at the beginning of the movie when he starts coming across them, he's trying to interact with them and trade and like talk to these people. Of course he's English and they're Indians, and he's asking about buffalo, and it's like comical. He looks stupid because he's like running on the ground, he's stuffing a shirt on his back, trying to like put a hump on his back, trying to like buffalo, have you seen buffalo? And he looks stupid, and it's funny. He's like, and they're like, oh, Tanaka, yeah. And it's the same thing. Like the same people will be like, digest that movie and like, no problem, because it's Boba Fett, so he's got to be freaking serious.
Hold on. So
all the time.
On that note, it's more. I'd say it's not even just that it's Dancing with Wolves. It's like that's that's got to be a story older than Dances with Wolves. I think.
Yeah.
Like where somebody goes to a lesser known people and try to teach them some
primitive
new way
people
and to survive a situation. That's to me, that's just like a hero's journey or other stories that are done often. And this specific story is done many times. This was done in The Mandalorian too, right? This was done in lots of things. This is the Ewoks. I don't know. There's a lot of things that are like that do this type of thing where you have a completely outmatched side, give them a little bit of something else, like of technology or techniques to use, and then utilize them to help fight off the more advanced enemy, right? Like that's a common thing.
But no,
it depends on how it's done well.
You get where I'm coming from, though. When I see, like, I'm totally open to criticism and things just like, oh yeah, you know what, that is bad, or I didn't think about that. Yeah, that's a neg on the show, however great or small. When I see like that angle, where it's like, oh, Boba Fett's like smiling and like has like a silly motion, and like that's what you focus on this whole show to like undercut it or to say it's crap.
Right.
And it's like we've seen other stuff that's more serious and it's like storytelling. Have these moments later, it's like the same thing, and you eat it up, but because you just got it out to like neg everything about Star Wars, it's now
it's like if I were to like comment on that, it's like and Flip, you can go next with this, of course. Like with the smiling thing, it's like if he's presented as a serious character in the trilogy, or in the original films anyway, in the OT, we only see him a few times. Like I feel like he's serious
like
a lot.
10 minutes of screen
he's probably
time, maybe?
serious. He's probably serious a lot of the time, sure, and when he's on duty. But I could see him smiling, because in the Return of the Jedi, he's chilling with the dancers and the musicians. He's like trying to get some with the alien chick. Like if his helmet is on, so you can't see his grin, but he's probably grinning under there, like, "Hey, what's up? We can go chill later," Like, so I could see him having
about to get some
moments. I could see him having moments of joy and then be serious. Like, well, in this episode, it's a good example when he's doing the standoff with the twins. He's in his serious Boba Fett mode, but then when he's with the Tuscans later, or earlier, whatever, he's trying to show them, and it's comedic by default, essentially. So
yeah,
that's fine. We got a few people popping in tonight real quick. So Bone is here. He says, yeah, he hasn't checked out Disney since they fired Gina Carano, which makes sense. A lot of people have taken that stance. That's cool.
Yoke man.
Me. We got the lovely Sherry around. What's up, Sherry? Thanks for joining us as well. We got the Gilkster, the Gilkinator, dropping by. Awesome. I hope you're feeling all right, dude. I heard you got the yeah, something going on that's seems very unfun. But yeah, hope you're doing good, man. And we got Atlantean as well hopping in here and there. And yeah, he said he watched Disney, or said I've watched Disney since, and I ain't gonna stop. Yeah, exactly.
Boom.
Disney has had successes in the past, and I hope that they improve rather than fail. Like actually get better at how they used to do stuff instead of get worse. But
Yeah.
anyway,
if you're a just a quick note, I get the sentiment, but there's not enough people that like are going to do any of this. You know, people are fickle. Like the idea of boycotting because of Gina or something to like take a stand. It's like doesn't matter. You boycott, then you're a non-factor in the direction of Star Wars future. You know, we'll never rectify or not make the same mistake again if you're out of the mix, if you're not contributing. I know there's like dogma behind all these companies in Hollywood right now, but at some point, like Gillette, they're going to lose enough money and they're going to listen to the customers.
Yeah,
you got to be a customer.
That's definitely a conversation that we should have at some point here with this type of thing. But Flip's got some low time. I think you got you got 10 more minutes or so.
Oh, sorry.
We can go. No, you're good. We can go a little while. Maybe
that's
15.
all right.
Let's go 15 more.
It's all good. Okay, I'm trying to keep it focused so it's not eating too much into your sleep time.
My miserable job. I've got to.
I gotcha.
Yeah, that's the only thing. But I love being here.
Yeah. So with the flashback, so Flip, you can comment next on it. So I guess to go through the events a little bit so you can comment on them a little easier. Like there's some other faction of fish people that have a little spice trade that are trying to go by on their routes, and it seemed like they're attacking the Tuskens intentionally, which they were just passing by, but yeah, they were firing at them first. Which, you know, if you see, to me, I'd think of, I'll comment in a sec. So what do you think of you know, Boba Fett trying to arm up the Tuskens and the whole conflict with the train runners?
Yeah, and there's a heavy expectation level for a Boba Fett series, and clearly we're seeing that you know is playing out with the fandom, and I think it's interesting. Really, at least we're talking about something that we don't like completely hate, and we many of us are like, oh man, it's kind of disappointing, but that's pretty much the overall gist of the people that don't like it. It's disappointing, but there's no real hate, and I like that topic of, you know, having discussions about Star Wars again. It feels really good, even though people don't like it. It still feels really good. With the Tusken Raiders, man, I think it's really a conflict, you know, in my mind, because I've always thought of them, especially with Anakin brutally murdering. Yes. I think. Sorry about that. Yeah, so he brutally murders them, and I thought, yeah, they're animals, and I'll kill them like animals, you know, slaughter them like animals. So for me, I thought, you know, that's what they are in my head, just they're animals. You know, I don't even know that they're human. Maybe they have dog faces up under there. And I know some comics depict them as humans, but people have debates about that. So whatever.
They sound like donkeys, people. They sound like donkey people to me. So I don't know.
They do sound like donkeys. Thank you.
That's perfect. But it's cool. Like where else would he go? Some other YouTuber said that there's a lot of elements of Dune in that, and that's like my new favorite movie.
And it is on the Dune Sea, so that's kind of ironic.
And even George Lucas said he stole, you know, ideas from Dune. He'd made no, you know, he made no bones about it. He was like, yeah, a lot of this comes from inspiration from Dune. And you've got the spice, you know, the spices, you know, being traded. Now, one other YouTuber said, well, why didn't they just fly it in? Why did they need a fucking train? Well, for the plot, I guess. But it was fun and exciting, especially that train sequence. And you're right. You said earlier, you know, Solo already did that, but they did it better here. I would agree with that. They did it better. It felt very like when the female Tusken Raider is going through the train there. I was like, damn, that's cool. Like she's kicking some ass and she pops her head up, and I just got this feel of Indiana Jones for some reason. I don't, you know, the type of movie and the action sequences felt like that right there.
Well, yeah, I like how they did not make the Tuskens seem invincible. They got picked off pretty easily throughout a little bit. I was like, okay, they're not going to shield them all here. Good, they're okay with risking some of the Tuskens now that they're trying to build them up. That's a little bit of a good sign. But I guess since what you're mentioning kind of reminded me. So, what do both you guys think about how they're treating the Tuscans now compared to later? Some of the stuff on Twitter is like, oh, isn't it great that they're showing the Tuscans are not this evil faction that we all thought they were? When I'm just thinking, I don't know, their actions depicted prior, I mean, not evil, but they seem kind of like dicks. They're just shooting pod racers and trying to kill them as they're racing, not bothering them at all. The Tuscans went there to do that, it seemed, and Anakin's mom and other people, like, it seems like and Luke, like, they seem to attack people all the time. Like, I don't know, it seems like dick moves, just dicks in the desert. That's how I see that. That's how I see them. But what do you guys think?
Oh, there's a meme I can make up. I'm gonna get busy on
Yeah,
that.
no, I mean, there's people that are latching on for their SJW agenda and say like, oh yeah, it's prejudice, and who knew we could see such a rich culture with the Tuscans, and like virtue signaling, and it's like gross, and I expected that at least a little bit, but yeah, no, I mean, you gotta think. I was thinking about this too. It's like, well, the first time I see a Tuscan is in 77. They attack Luke. Well, for all we know, is like they were trespassing essentially, so they had every right, within their borders, sovereignty, to attack this fuck Luke Skywalker. Like, we're watching it from the heroes' perspectives, like the heroes of the story, and the Tuscans aren't part of that story. They're like an obstacle at the beginning.
Seems like it's difficult to tell what territories you're in, though. It's like,
yeah, and
I don't know how you
I've always thought of them as like Muslim Indians, like a hybrid. But they're not the focus, so they're just like in the background, and they're an obstacle for our heroes multiple times in the saga, and so we never really given them their due. I mean, there's clearly like some depth put in episode 2 in details with Lucas, but you never really expound on. And so, yeah, I'm really enjoying like digging into like, oh, like this is what they do. And they know all these little pockets of how to live and find a tree in, barren wasteland and stuff to like make these weapons. And yeah. And like you've seen like multiple tribes in those last couple of shows with Mandalorian and this tribe and stuff. And, they're not like just mindless savages. They have a culture, and like, there's a reason they're attacking and shooting and stuff at people. We've just never been in the place to like dig into why. And so this is cool. Like, this is an expansion on the universe. And sure, it's Disney, so they're going to like hold their punches and be safe. They're never going to like take risks again. Last Jedi was the biggest risk they'll ever take, and they're shy from anything to step on people's toes now. But yeah, like, this is fun. This is just like, you don't always have to have like a big epic Death Star or whatever, or the Force or a lightsaber. Like, you just take your time and like live in this. And if that's boring to you, like, cool, and just like go away and wait for like the big moment, like Luke Skywalker.
Well, it's funny. I've mentioned before, I wouldn't mind seeing a Star Wars movie take place in a house. Like, you could have something happen in a one location or something. You don't have to go everywhere. But I will admit, I am really tired of the desert aesthetic. In general, I just would rather have a different thing to look at some point in Star Wars. It seems like it's such a common thing as a wastelands. Essentially, it's like I get they're around, but Tatooine. I guess hopefully they'll get off there soon because I want to look at something different. That's a small complaint though overall with it. I guess. I was wondering because he went to a town. Was it a town that he went to get the speeder bikes, or? Like, I didn't really get where that was, I guess. With that, was that just a regular town nearby or space port? Would they have a ship there?
Maybe it was like the idea of like a saloon, just like a watering hole somewhere on like a rest stop or something.
Because I could see if it's like a rest stop, they might not have ships. I mean, that could be the thing. Maybe there's different areas of the planet where like there's more sand problems, so they don't have more ships around. They get more problems with that. So maybe it's why they have more land-based stuff to travel in the sandy parts. Maybe would be my only explanation. Yay, nay.
Just random place to stop, It's Tosche Station.
Well, I was trying to say for like to explain why they don't have spaceships everywhere on the sandy planets. They Like maybe the sand really fucks up the spaceships. I don't know.
It's the outer rim, you know, like it's not interesting to land out there because they have a city. Anchorhead is where their main port is, so you'd probably see a lot of them there, you know. But out in the middle of the desert, maybe just a lot of people out there wouldn't have them because they're poor. The Tusken Raiders seemed like they had a lot of trouble understanding technology. Period, because I guess you know, like they are. And not only in the background of what we watch when it comes to Star Wars, but they're in the background of people's lives too. Like they're the forgotten, you know, Iraqi people out there living on, you know, goat milk and shit.
Well, yeah. Well, I guess this would make more sense to me if I knew where Mos Eisley was in comparison to where they are here with like Jabba and the Mos Espa or whatever the fuck, because it's because the Mos Eisley was the spaceport, but I could see that. Well, this is a whole planet, and that's one spaceport. Like if you're on anywhere else on the planet, you know, maybe there's no activity there. Like as far as like space faring, like nobody from space is going to, I want to land on that end. No, you're going to go to the Mos Eisley, of course. Like, well, why would you go anywhere else?
Right.
Could be part of the thing, but
I don't know.
Anyway, that's just tidbitting right there. Trying to open up into it a little bit. Yeah, the Boba Fett is teaching the Tuskens how to ride speeders. He goes beats up a biker gang pretty quickly. I like how it didn't linger there too long. Like make a big deal. Like whoa, he's a hero. He's kind of walks in, beats the shit out of them when they attack him, and then he takes a drink and leaves.
Oh, honestly,
I was like, that was kind of funny. All right.
Beginning that sequence when you're like in that bar thing. There's that guy in that jacket. I was like, oh fuck, did they get like a bad, like not even get the Eccles Erickson or the Third Reich guy, the Aaron Reich, the solo actor.
Yeah,
I was like, oh god, do they just like hire some cheapo off the street to be Han Solo, like in between 4, 5, 6, and 7? I was like, oh, and then it's like, I guess they're nobody. I don't know, but
oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that totally just threw me completely off because like he kind of had similar like dress, which is like sure a lot of people might dress like that in Star Wars universe, but that's the one guy we like no looks like that, you know. So I was like,
no, I did not think about Han Solo at all.
I was like, oh no, and then it's like it went totally nothing. So I was like, okay,
because she was like, just let him be. And he's like, no, I'm gonna stand up to him. Like,
yeah, no, that was the thing. It was like his like. Assertiveness. I was like, well, that's like a Solo thing to do.
But he seemed
get himself in trouble.
He seemed like he was shaking in his boots before he approached them, though. So I don't know. It seemed, I don't know. I didn't think about Han, but I could see where you draw it from. I guess
it was mainly an imagery thing that made me. I was like, and I'm not a like original trilogies like. It's okay. I like it, but
yeah, honestly, if
I'm not attached.
Honestly, if I were to relook at the original trilogy, which I want to one of these days, it might be open for some critiques here and there. I don't know. Like we'll have to see in the future.
No, they're great. It's just I'm not attached. That's not my Star Wars. Prequels are.
I gotcha.
That's where I was coming from. But I was like, despite that, kind of like Last Jedi, like I'm not attached to Luke. I didn't really like feel the like hurt in that way. It was just like that felt wrong. Right? That's what I was like feeling with that sequence. I was like, is that a crappy Solo?
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, so I don't know if there's that much else to comment on as far as the whole Tusken things. I mean, he ends up that he helps them defeat the spice people that are fish people, and they're like, are you going to kill us? This is an example of what I mean by the dialogue, because their back and forth is so drawn out for such simple talk. It just seemed really dumb. It's like, I don't know. He's like, you walk that way and you'll live. He's like, you're going to kill us. No, I'm not. You are going to live. Then they have their exchange, and then you're going to walk down that way and you will be fine. But then we will die. We will drink these things with you. And I'm just kind of like, this is a lot of screen time for not really gaining much. I don't know. We're here and just hearing this back and forth, and it's a nothing burger after this point. That they like the scene seemed like
patience you must learn. Rookie.
Like the scene should have ended a little bit ago, and it would have been improved in my opinion, because I liked what they showed for the most part, but then it just dragged with their back and forth talk, and just seemed like, okay, that's not really going anywhere. And then I like how, well, I don't know if I liked it, but I thought it was funny. I did laugh. I did laugh when the Tusken was like, oh, here's a present for you, and then you get a fucking lizard. He's like, oh, lizard, okay. And it shoots at his face, and he like just spews some dust on his face, and it climbs in his mouth, and he's like, I seem to have ate your lizard. Whoops. And it was kind of like that was pretty funny. I kind of laughed at that.
I just laughed because it shot like, oh, a lizard. And I was thinking like, is this like some weird species they just catch and it's going like before it shot in his face? I thought what was going to happen was that it would be like a magnet that for whatever reason this lizard points to like the right direction. That's what I was expecting.
Like
I
a
thought
compass.
Yeah, a literal compass. Yeah, I thought like
I paused it right before he blew the dust on him, and I was like, "Oh, is this? He's gonna have a lizard companion, and it's gonna grow big." And
like
then
Tangled.
and then I press play, and he smokes this thing in his face, and then it climbs in his mouth. I was like, "That is not what I predicted at all." What the
Bro,
fuck?
watch it again. It climbs up his nose.
There's nose. He said he seemed to have swallowed it, or and I was like, "What?" But it looked like it went up his nose, so that was weird.
It goes in his nose.
And then he has a trippy dream sequence, but he's also walking, so I guess it's not a dream. And he's like imagining the Sarlacc pit a little, and he's like, I'm a bounty hunter. And then he gets wrapped up by a magical tree, and then he ends up breaking it in half, and he's got a branch, and he's walking like a zombie back to the Tuscan thing with the branch that he forges into his club.
Yeah. Well,
Pretty
you know
cool.
what's funny about the lizard is in Brazil, they got this like worm in the water, some shit. So you gotta like be careful of the water down there.
Oh, yeah, they'll
that,
go up
like,
your pee-pee hole.
No. I'm not.
That's the Amazon.
Little,
Sorry,
that's a little fish. But no, they have like this worm that like it'll infect your brain and make you like it makes you more like I don't know hostile necessarily, but like just more risk taking and dangerous.
Oh
It
yeah,
warps
yeah.
your personality.
It like suppresses your survival instinct.
Yeah, and
you're
there's
more
there's
risky.
like some mold or something that does this to ants, makes them like zombies.
I've heard of that one. Yes.
Yeah, and so yeah, like thinking about that you know they're adding this to the universe, and it's like you know Afghanistan, you gotta worry about like camel spiders in your boots or something. But like wow, like you live in a planet, you gotta worry about some worm just shoots in your face, you know, and like
I
warps your
wonder.
head.
It makes me wonder what the salamander lizard thing benefits from any of this. Like, why is it just what it does? How it comes out when it's done? Like,
He likes the
All right,
power.
I'm done.
Yep. All right. I helped him on his journey. Thank you.
That's a good point.
I was really confused. I thought he was going to be in him forever. Nope. It's out now. Oh my god. What's going on here?
It's a weird plot device.
So if I would ask the writers, what are you doing with this thing? What is this shit? It's like if they don't have an answer for something later, I'd be like, does this need to be in there? They could just point.
I think I get it. I think okay. So there's an episode of the Clone Wars where they land on Geonosis to go get the bug queen, the queen of all the bugs.
Yeah, and they all get zombified with worms in their head or something.
Right. So knowing that, what did the worms get out of it? Well, they controlled the people, and well through the work of the lady, I guess, you know, or whatever.
Are you suggesting there's a salamander queen out there or something?
Not at all. I know. I think that he digs being up in a brain for some reason. Maybe he licks the brain and gets the chemicals off of it. I don't know, man.
I just be
I
like,
freaking love endorphins, man.
I'd be like, this was not consensual. You fucking see, the Tuscans are monsters. They
Nose rape.
They unconsensually shoved a thing up his nose and his brain. He did not ask for that.
The first thing I said to my daughter when I saw that lizard, I go, "You can save 15% by switching to Geico." She started laughing.
I almost put because I was having trouble finding a good gecko picture, and so I almost got the Geico gecko when I made that meme.
I'm glad you found a different one. That was funny.
Yeah, that'd be two on the nose. It would
before I saw it, I was seriously like, okay, so those Bosk lizard people are going to be like, you know, we're going to try to fight Boba Fett fist to fist or something. And when they showed them in the very beginning, I'm like, oh, and then I assumed those were who was going to be on the train, was like those types of people to like set up a connection, but no, it wasn't. That was kind of like, oh, but that was okay. I was like, all right, this was all. As weird as this, I think I like this episode better than the last one, though I do just, I don't know, the way they do some of the dialogue exchanges, I just feel are off. They just don't, it's just a small, it's a writing thing of like, what are you saying? How long are you taking to say it? And what are you all talking? What are you addressing? Why are we on you still on the camera? Why are we on you right now? And it just seemed a little, like it lingers a little longer than it probably should. And could have been better if they just point in a direction and they go that way or something instead of huge conversation. But they're establishing that this is where he's trying to start, you know, his, you know, nicer rule which I guess is all right. I mean, a lot of people say that he wouldn't rule this way, and it's like,
Like,
I don't
well,
know.
no,
Like
but
I don't know how he'd rule. Like I can't. We haven't seen enough of him to know how he'd rule anything. He just did his job before here and there, and he's like, I still want to get paid.
No, but
and,
it's part of life.
all that.
It's part of life, like I said earlier. Like when you grow, there are levels of growth. Like you start as a kid, and you're rash. You make irrational, illogical decisions because you don't have experience and you don't have knowledge. And this guy went through a spiritual. That's the whole point that they're trying to get across to you guys, is that he is going through a spiritual awakening. He is realizing that life matters. That's why he's trying to rule with respect.
Well,
No
some
disintegrations.
people would argue that that's how we got Luke Skywalker from Last Jedi, though.
From Last Jedi.
Like they'd say, oh, he got older. Look, he went through experiences, and that's where he is now.
I don't know who would say that, because that's
what a lot of people were saying. They're like he's different, guys. He's older. He went through
that doesn't
different
mean
stuff.
he'd be like fucking hateful monger. Like he wouldn't change his actual everything about his personality.
Well, no, I agree. So this would be my point with Boba Fett, is that it feels like with the Tusken. So he goes out of the Sarlacc, he gets stripped of his things from the Jawas, gets Tusken. I feel like he should have been like starting out a little bit more aggressive at first, and then as he goes is less aggressive, is kind of how I would see it, because he seems to be very sparing here. With Boba Fett, he seems to be very sparing here.
With Luke Skywalker, they were saying that he went from good to bad, which is so unlikely. But it is not unlikely to go from bad to good. That is more likely in the world.
I wouldn't even say
I
this
agree.
is good or bad. I wouldn't say Boba is bad. Like, he is deemed a villain given his associations, but he's just a bounty hunter. It's just a job.
So I guess I'm saying, what I'm saying is that I feel like when he spared when he's trying to escape, I feel like he would have been a little more aggressive in his escape at that point. And then, throughout, after he gets his butt kicked and all these different things, then he would be starting to soften up, is what I'm saying. But it seemed like he went from, I am a bounty hunter who's, doing all this stuff and I'm a little more aggressive, to I am not going to hurt somebody who's innocent all of a sudden. Like, I don't know. It seemed like I would have liked to see just a little bit more poking at him. Him putting up more of a fight at first, and then kind of seeing some different stuff here and there. That would have been a little different for me. I guess to make that more solid is all.
I see where you're coming from, but I think you got to think too. Like, his job was bounty hunter, but outside of that, like, how's he going to treat people? Like, we don't really know.
But I would say with what you're just saying, he was captured by Tuskens and led outside. He was dragged and laid outside and beat up a little and trying to escape. There's a dog thing. I feel like he'd be aggressive there. Not, I will spare you now. Like, I feel like that would have come after he got his ass kicked or something.
It was
stuff like that. Maybe. All I'm pointing is that this would be more believable with a few tweaks, but I'm not saying that what they've shown isn't possible. It's just, I feel like it would have been improved a little.
Well, like I said, the expectation level for this sort of show, I mean, it's probably the highest. I mean, period. Boba Fett, who said very little, like you said.
And I have zero expectations.
Expectation for at least, that I'm experiencing with, people and,
with everybody else right around here. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, bro, they were expecting this ass kicking, very few, words coming out of his mouth, blowing shit up left and right. Kind of like the way you were thinking he was in Mandalorian. He was very quiet. He was in power, He beat the shit out of 20 stormtroopers. Like, okay, this is Boba Fett. But now all of a sudden, from that, and the original series of movies, the OT, bam, here he is, and he's got feelings, oh my god, but he's not too feeling. He's not too emotional. He's not got the fifis, He's just a person who's coming back from death. I get that, but he also is fuck this, I'm in power, bitches. But he has to play the game. It's politics, and that kind of sucks. And it's boring. It is boring, but that's why I say the expectation level's through the roof. It can't all be guns and bombs and shit.
Mm-hmm.
God, it sounds like a bomb's going off somewhere.
Sorry, it's my washer.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah, no, I
know
didn't
that sound.
I didn't really think about, he gets stripped of his armor, and regardless if you like this, they're putting in some groundwork with like the flashbacks and like the current timeline story that will lead somehow into tying in with Mandalorian.
Yeah.
They're doing the groundwork that we didn't get with Luke Skywalker. Like if you had something, some inkling, some buildup into the main fray of episode 8's, if you kept everything the same with Luke's story, but just gave more detail than just a quick like two different
if they lined it up a little,
like
set some
you
breadcrumbs,
could justify,
set some
you can still
breadcrumbs.
not
I
like
agree.
it,
Yeah,
but you could justify to the audience through progression of logical points why Luke would get to this hermit stage and just like essentially a cop that's like, yeah, wait, crime's not going to stop. Well, I'm just not going to play the game. Like that progression makes sense if you do it well. And it's like you cannot like this show for what you're expecting. And I get that. I totally get that. I didn't really come in with expectations besides Boba Fett's cool. I wonder what they're going to do with them. And I'm liking it so far. They're taking their time. And I didn't expect flashbacks so much, and I'm liking this, especially adding up the Tuskens. But they've stripped this character and they're like crafting him as essentially a new guy now. And it's like he's still going to be a crime lord. He's not necessarily a villain, but he's doing amoral things for sure.
Yep.
Even if he's got more restraint or ethics to him now, and maybe we'll come to find that might have something to do with like realizing the path of his father got him nowhere.
I was gonna say, I feel like that when they show him as a kid, it makes me wonder if that's what they're trying to do. Is like, from his eyes looking at Django and stuff, like what his dad was doing. Does he want to be like his dad, or does he want to be, quote unquote, better than his dad? Which is kind of an annoying position that they take often, and they don't usually do very well. But if they can do that well enough here, then I think that pays off just fine.
That's a good point. Yeah, because they've got those flashbacks, it makes a lot of sense.
I guess so. Real quick though, I'd be more okay with the flashbacks if it wasn't tied to him always being asleep, because they mentioned in the last one that he's having the dreams again, which means he's dreaming this, and it's like, and he's got to be in the back to tank, and it's like
the flashback.
I don't know. Like, are you? I guess they'll probably explain at some point why he always needs a back to bath, but it's kind of like if you need to heal every day after going for a walk, like I don't know, man. That's kind of. I don't know. That's a little weird. A little weird move is all, just for the placement, I guess, because it's kind of weird seeing him in that every single episode so far. Like 2 episodes, and he's always in it. In the Mandalorian, was he back to tank dependent? Like, did he need to have back to injections or something? Like what?
See, I don't know if this current timeline is taking place before he comes into the Mandalorian or after. But I assume
isn't that what they showed in the Mandalorian?
They showed like this end credit scene of him taking out Bib Fortuna and like I run the shit now with Fennec, but you don't really have an inkling. I'm assuming maybe it's supposed to be after he drops off, Din Djarin and company, and then flies off in that mission.
Wait, who the fuck is Fennec?
That's the girl. That's the Asian.
I never caught her name.
Fennec Shan.
I was just calling her Ming Na Wen. I'm like, I have no idea what her name is at all. I did not catch her name. So, okay. Sounds like a guy's name. It's like, what? I got you.
But yeah, no, I see people being bored ever, but like when you're like, man, I'm just like squirming because they're taking time with this, all the dialogue. I'm just like, I don't know, man. You just gotta learn patience. Like you're still, I don't know. I'm trying to think of something Yoda would say, but like, yeah, you're a fucking youngling still with movies, dude. The older you get, I think the more you're just gonna be like, oh fuck, like what a breath of fresh air. Like I'm just getting bombarded with CGI garbage. Like, oh, they took time and crafted this whole set with the Tuskens, and man, this is nice.
It doesn't mean we're gonna love it at the end. That we could just have to walk back everything. But I think what Angus is saying is how I'm feeling too. Like you want something more than just beat them up, blow them up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's what I mean. I want more than just that as well. And like, I don't know, like, what do you guys think of my criticism compared to others so far? I guess like I'm trying to not sound I know you're addressing more of the fandom's angle on that rather than mine. But
you have valid points.
Go to bed.
And they're gonna say, "Go to hell."
Damn it! I thought I hit my button, but it didn't mute. Oh my god!
No, you're okay. So I don't have much more to say. I guess they built him up as Club, and He's got a robe now, which is not. It was just funny. Another note. It's just a funny note though. Like he has his hood on when he exits the tent. Then he immediately takes his hood off. And I'm just kind of like, they always try to get his full head in almost every scene. They try to make him take off his thing, and I know it's so you can see his face or something.
It might be
but
contractual.
Like it's just weird. It's a weird move, though. It's all. It's just like I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think they should leave his helmet on for like the current story. Like maybe when he's in his bedroom or whatever, fine, because we know who the actor is. It's not like it's a mystery.
No, he took his helmet off as soon as he enters the building.
No, I know that's what I'm like. Why? Yeah, no, it's not like a huge thing, but I'm like, all right, you should try to maintain the mystique mostly. You know, it's like when you watch Din Djarin, like most of the time, it's like even once season 3, I expect him to have his helmet on most of the time, not like
like if it's for public appearances. Because if I see that's who's Boba Fett, it's under that helmet, I'm like, I'm not as worried about you. Kind of like Kylo Ren. I was kind of like, you have this I don't know what you look like under that thing, and you've got this prowess and presence, and now I see your face, and it's kind of like, okay, now I kind of have an idea, and it's like, ish. But I don't know. Any more comments on the episode, you guys? I don't have much more to say.
No, it's pretty. I really loved the whole like him crafting his staff. Well, that was cool. And it's like they put more effort into this than 3 episodes with Rey Skywalker. It's like when she finally gets her own saber, it's like, oh yeah, I just threw together like 2 crystals and my staff, whatever.
No, you're right. I can appreciate that aspect.
Yeah, no, it's like it's like I know
time.
Behind this a deleted scene of Luke Skywalker in like Obi-Wan using his junk or whatever, make a new lightsaber that they didn't use, and it's like, but you knew about that, and then like Lucas expanded on that in later creations, the nitty gritty of the Jedi, and so it's like it's just funny because it's like it's such a staple symbol of the Jedi. And for a new one to come up and be so powerful and special, it's like, it's like you put more effort in. Boba's already got weapons, when he's got his armor and his gun and stuff. He's got iconic.
Yeah, but now that he's got Zero, he's got to get him back at some point or get new ones.
But now he's got a staff, and it's like, okay, well, that's why you had that in Mandalorian. Like you're getting some. So I'm assuming, I guess, at least the Tusk. Yeah, so I guess this whole show's before Mandalorian until like the current story, then it's like after, but I have to like brush up on my timeline stuff, but either way, I'm liking it. Sure, it could be better in certain ways or like a little tightened, but this is the thing too, this is a guy who made Alita Battle Angel, so what do I really expect? luckily Disney's holding his hand and Favreau's there, so otherwise
Yep.
I got you.
For me, I'm just hopeful that that this ends up being as good as it's sort of leading up to the Jabba the Hutt people, the Hutts, whatever you call them. They showing up. That looked good. I'm impressed with that. I loved the Wookiee, the whatever his name is, Chrysanthemum, Dark Chrysanthemum.
I don't know what his name was, but the Wookiee looked pretty cool. I'll admit, I like that.
And so they're building up to some sort of conflict. We'll see what happens, but
I want to see the Hutts literally fight Boba Fett hand to hand in combat with the jelly monsters.
What was it that Leia had in her hand? A
chain. That's okay.
No, she walks in as a bounty hunter to save Han. In Return of the Jedi, and everyone's freaking out because
thermal detonator.
Thermal detonator, right? Throw one of those in one of the Hutt's mouths, but like, let's see it, rated R, straight up blood.
Well, I thought you were gonna say have it cartoony where it just like puffs out their stomach and smoke comes out of their mouth. They're like, oh, that was good.
That'd be good too. Yeah,
but I think that closes it out here. I'm still not as into the show, but I would say this one's better than the last episode. My complaints are very different than what I've seen most of the fandom area around here about it. So. I don't know. I'd say it is an improvement. I guess like I'm more invested in this than I was in Mandalorian, even though there was more mystery around it, which was a good factor to it. But I don't know. I might after I'm done, after this Boba Fett's over, I might try to actually finish that just to see, what the hell lines up and stuff, and if I still think the same way about it. But any last words?
This was fun. I'm glad that we got to do this again. We should definitely try to do it for the next episode.
We actually did 2 consistent streams in a row in a week. Wow. Yeah, my first ones.
Freaking amazing.
Yeah, no, this is fun. I'm really glad that we're having something to like bond over, even though it's like Ricky's like, meh.
Even though I'm a turd, I know.
But you're not being a turd because you get likes or whatever, some internet clout for like score dunking and Star. It's like it becomes very obvious where it's like some people, it's like, okay, that's legit criticism, that's a legit neg, and then others are just like, we're like the cool kids, Star Wars sucks, and it's like,
right on.
Wasn't the whole thing that linked us was like the one infraction of Roundhead Ryan just like wrecking what was a good thing, generally speaking for everybody. And what's funny is like, for me, I see a lot of this crap as it looks the same as prequel hate. Where it's like, oh, the Anakin was supposed to be a great Jedi, and I just saw a whiny kid. And it's like you sound like the same fucking people. It's like, what did you really know about Vader? You got a very simple background to him with like little details of interactions in the past with the Great War through Obi-Wan, and he's fell, and now he's a robot with the Emperor. So there's like,
and it's detached
story
enough to where they could separate the trilogies if they wanted to, and go, no, that wasn't his past. So he just was Vader and all this, like, and that's fine.
Well, it's like clearly this is like in the universe. It's a real person. It has something beyond like the mystique. He had to like get there some way. And sure, maybe Lucas took everything with Anakin. I say I'm totally fine with. Maybe there's things I would like tweak that make it better, or like to like deliver it to the audience better. I think Lucas took a lot of liberties. He thought the audience was smarter and could put things together better than they are. That's the biggest problem with the prequels for the general audiences, I think, is that Lucas thought he was talking to smarter people.
And many of us aren't.
And the Boba Fett, it's like it reads the same. It reads the same as prequel hate. When it's all these people that weren't prequel fans, all of a sudden Last Jedi and stuff, and they're like, oh, if we only had Lucas back. It's like, you were probably the people that chased him off. It's like it's a lot of 20/20 hindsight, and you're doing the same thing with Boba Fett now. Those people, that's how I feel. And also like the Disney Association, what they've done, and like the whole like agenda stuff going on in Hollywood. I think that really manipulates people's honest opinions about stuff.
Mm-hmm. I couldn't agree more, man.
So that's where I'm irritated with all of this discourse about Boba Fett, where it's like, generally speaking, I'm not seeing SJW talking points, and it's not a political argument, but I feel that background with Disney for the last 4 years has soured any enjoyment for a lot of these people.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, man. If we just found out he directed one of the episodes of something,
speak of the devil.
Yeah, is, oh my God, great to have you, Mr.
Dude, we got freaking George Lucas in the chat.
Yeah,
I named my son after you.
Oh, God.
Oh yes,
you got a big dick. I hope so. Because you don't got Star Wars no more. But like, if we find out one of these videos or movies or shows were directed by him, but everyone hated it, we didn't know about it, and we're all like, that sucked, and some of us were like, that was pretty cool. Like, how would you feel? Like, you might feel like, oh my God, so now I know I don't like George Lucas no matter what, because I'm an asshole. But I agree with Angus. A lot of the prequel hate is sort of, and of course the sequel hate too, which may be more valid. It's kind of playing into this where people just don't know what to say anymore. Like, they don't know what they like anymore. And I hate that. I do. But I'm being patient with it, and I think it's going to turn out. I feel like it's going to turn out pretty good. I think it's building to something. So let's just see.
Yeah,
I can't.
Then again, it could also turn to a Game of Thrones season 8 thing. Who knows? So
good God, don't say that. Don't say that.
I shall.
I do feel more.
But doesn't mean that stuff along the way isn't isn't bad. who else is doing that. But
Yeah, I feel more comfortable that it's Filoni and Favreau, and so we have a little more hope here.
yeah, perhaps. But yeah, next week they have another one next week, right? Or
Is
is it every week? Do they take a break every now and then?
Yeah, no, it should be every week. Wednesday drops.
Okay. All right, and then we'll try to link up again for another one. So we will see. And with that, yeah, you guys have a great one. This is cool hanging out again. And we'll see you guys